Hey, in this video, I'm going to give you a bunch of gift ideas for the wrestling fan in your life. If you have a wrestling fan that is your significant other, or a child, or a cousin, or a niece, or a nephew, and you're not a wrestling fan, it's really hard to buy for them. I got you covered here. And if you are a wrestling fan, go ahead and share this video with your friends and family to give them the not-so-subtle hint of what you're hoping to get for the holidays. Links to everything discussed is going to be in the description below. Let's jump into this. I am a huge fan of giving out board games as gifts, and I'm going to start off with a wrestling board game. Superstar Showdown is a game that came out a few years ago and is not super easy to find, but if you look around you can find it. I do have some links below. It's made by Gale Force 9, who is a very well-known game developer. I picked this game up used at Gen Con last year and it hasn't disappointed. It's a ton of fun, especially for wrestling fans. It's a great gateway game for someone who's not necessarily into board games, so don't worry if they're into games or not. If they're a wrestling fan, they're going to love this. Another great game is Bookit, which is a wrestling promoter card game. It is exactly what it sounds like. You are a wrestling promoter, the cards are your wrestlers, and you are building a promotion, so to speak. This might look strange to an outsider, but to a wrestling fan, this is a complete nerd out moment. Going up the pricing ladder yet, let's look at replicas. Championship belts. This is the creme de la creme, if you will, for wrestling fans. These are replica belts that are made to look just like the ones on TV. They're not plastic. The ones I have on the screen are some of the most popular, because there's literally hundreds of belts. These are the ones I recommend. You have the winged eagle up top. That one was used somewhere around 88, I'd say, till about 97. Then in the middle there, you have the big eagle, which was used from 97-ish, maybe 98, till about 01. And then you have the intercontinental belt that's been used on and off for about 30 years. These are my favorite ones, and I think if you went with one of these, you can't possibly go wrong. Look at the dates I listed, and look at your wrestling fans' fandom. If they were a fan in the early 90s, go with the winged eagle. If they were a fan in the late 90s or 2000s, go with the big eagle. Speaking of replicas, you can always go with a replica mask. Specifically, they make a beautiful Rey Mysterio and the Fiend mask. Both of these are incredibly popular wrestlers and their masks are awesome, or creepy in the Fiend's case. Just make sure you get them a plastic mannequin head to go with it. I'll put a link to that as well. Since this is a channel mostly about toys, I think it only goes without saying that I'm gonna recommend action figures. Action figures are tough to buy because there's so many different lines, there's so many different characters, you don't know who to get them. I highly recommend anyone from the Ultimate Elite line. As the name sounds, these are the creme de la creme. They retail between 30 and 35 bucks. They come with alternate heads, ultimate hands, all sorts of accessories. They're really great figures, and I can't recommend them enough. If you want to go old school, check out eBay and you can see if you can find any of the old WWF Hasbro figures. These are skyrocketing in value lately, so they're not cheap. If you want to get someone something special, you can't go wrong with one of these or with one of the old LJNs from the 80s. Again, not going to be cheap, but it would be a very special gift. Looking at collectibles, Foco makes these amazing wrestling bobbleheads. I'm in love with them. The only bad thing about them is that they are in and out of stock very quickly. So if you see them in stock, don't wait to buy. Buy them right away. Eagle Moss makes some great die-cast wrestling figures as well. These aren't going to have any articulation. These are essentially statues, but they make great displays. If you want to go wacky, wrestling socks, man. I love these things. If my feet weren't gigantic, I would absolutely be wearing these. They have a bunch of different socks, both from the old school eras of the 80s and 90s as well as today. Just be careful you don't buy any knockoffs that fall apart after one cycle through the wash. Do you want to make your special someone the champion at breakfast? Get him a WWE Waffle Maker that comes out the shape of the WWE belt. I told you it was wacky. They make some really awesome wrestling graphic novels. Hear me out here, because you might be being like, wrestling graphic novel, that's crazy. So the two up top there, both those Andre the Giants, I bought them when they came out and they were amazing. Both are biographies, but they are beautifully illustrated and the stories, it tugs on your heart if you ever heard the story of Andre and his real life story. Then down in the bottom right is a story of Andy Kaufman. Again, it's a biography. It chronicles the comedian's whole life, so wrestling's only a portion of it, but it's a good sized portion. And then last but not least is the comic book story of pro wrestling. This one I have not gotten yet. I hope to get soon. It's basically a history of wrestling shown graphically. My last gift idea is the gift that keeps on giving. That's right, subscription boxes. You got two options for wrestling. You have Resolute, which is sold through Cratejoy, and then you have the official WWF Slam Crate by Loot Crate. Again, this is the gift that keeps on giving because you can either buy them 1 month or you can buy them a whole year's worth and they'll continue to think about you each time they get a new package. It truly is the gift that keeps on giving. Again, links for all this stuff can be found in the description below. Also, check out some of my other holiday gift guide videos. Till next time, be cool, stay nerdy.